What's good, ladies and gentlemen? So today I'm going to continue my Power of series. And actually, by series, I probably only mean 2 podcasts because this is podcast number 104. And I don't think 105 will be another continuation of the series. So today I'm going to speak about the power of consistency and the power of transformation. So let's get started with the power of consistency. Wake up the same time every day. Go to sleep at the same time every day. Now, I may not do this to the minute, but normally I do wake up around 5:30 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday, maybe a half hour later on the weekends at 6 a.m. And this is even if I have a late night on a Friday night or Saturday night, because I think it's important to have that consistency in your life. So if I'm super tired during the day, then I might take a short nap, but I still get up early on the weekends because I don't want to break that consistency. And when I was writing, because in previous podcasts I told you that I wrote a novel, I wrote a screenplay, I would write at the same time every day in the morning as well. So when I say that there is power in being consistent in your life with the things you do, just by showing up every day, you will win that race against your competitors more times than not, just by simply showing up, because a lot of people in this world stop showing up for life. And by showing up, I don't mean that they stop showing up for their jobs or stop going to school or stop showing up in their relationships. I mean they stop showing up in whatever endeavor they may be pursuing in order to achieve greatness. So if you're competing with others to achieve greatness simply by showing up every day, you're going to win a lot of these competitions, because a lot of people don't have the discipline just to show up every single day. So be consistent, not only with your actions in life, but be consistent with your behavior. Are you good only to people that are good to you? Or do you try to be good to everyone? Now, by no means am I perfect. I know it's hard, really hard, to be good to people that are not good to you. But even the devil is good to people that are good to him. So try to be better than most by treating even those that mistreat you with kindness when possible. Now, I certainly don't succeed in this endeavor all the time, but I have been kind in the past to those that did me wrong. Not every time, but that's what evolution as a human being is about. Become just a little bit better as a person every single year, and you will make great strides in life. Now, if you already abide by the power of consistency, that obviously means you have discipline. And if you're exercising discipline in your life, most likely you are trying to achieve something great, because every person I know that exercises great discipline in life is trying to achieve greatness. And if you're trying to achieve greatness, that means that you will have tried a lot of things inevitably in life and have been rejected many times in your pursuit of greatness. And that's where the power of transformation comes into play. Because if you want to do something great, you're going to have to experience a lot of rejection in life. People with scars from battles and struggles are far more interesting to me than people with no scars. Now, just from martial arts training alone, I have multiple scars on each leg. I think one time I counted and I have 15 visible scars on my legs. I used to have one actually on my face that would cut across my eyebrow diagonally, but that from a sparring session, but that actually has faded over time. But do you know what these scars represent? To me, but not only to me, but your scars would represent to you is learning. That means you're learning something in life. So, of course, by scars, I just don't mean physical scars. A lot of us will have to go and endure mental scars and emotional scars to achieve greatness in life. So be proud of your scars. Trust me, your scars are what makes you unique and more interesting than everyone else. Now, as I stated in podcast number 103, I spent hundreds of hours writing a full-blown literary fiction novel and also a full-blown screenplay. And nothing has come out of either endeavor yet, but it doesn't mean nothing will never come from it. So let me tell you about a funny story when I didn't understand the power of transformation, because the power of transformation is about turning rejections into successes. When I was younger and still working in private wealth management, my job never excited me. So during the evenings, I would take acting classes, and I studied at the same actors lab that produced Danny Glover and a few other well-known actors. And after a few showcase events in which I delivered long monologues, my acting instructors told me, "Hey, you're ready. Go start auditioning now for plays. You are ready." So I actually never pursued acting in the US, because if I were to audition for plays and whatnot, of course I would have to quit my corporate job. And back then I wasn't that committed to acting where I wanted to pursue it full time. So the interesting part about that segment of my life, which was many years ago, ironically, after I moved to Asia, an agent actually approached me and asked me if I had any acting experience. I told him yes, and he started representing me, and he sent me to auditions for 4 major Hollywood movies, all 4 speaking roles that were shooting in Asia. One was for a DC comic book adaptation called The Shadow, but I never saw this movie come out, so I don't think it was ever made. I never heard anything from the casting agent after my audition, so I think that project was killed. The second was a movie called Shanghai, in which I was actually cast in the role I auditioned for, but the movie went over budget, and my role was cut, unfortunately, before I even filmed it. The third was a local movie that did not interest me at all, because when I read the script, the dialogue was awful. And so when I auditioned, I was only like half-hearted in my audition, because I just did not think it would be a good movie. And I think that movie actually got made, but it didn't really get good reviews. And the fourth movie was The Hangover 2, which I was flat out rejected for. And Paul Giamatti actually got the role for which I auditioned. But when I looked at my auditioning record at that point, which was 0 for 4 auditions, 4 rejections, and I stopped auditioning because I did not realize that people sometimes audition dozens of times, maybe even hundreds of times before receiving anything. And I thought that I looked at my auditioning for these experiences kind of like testing for my black belt in martial arts. I thought like, hey, if I were to test for my black belt and be rejected 4 times, then, you know, I think I could keep testing and eventually I would pass. But really, by failing 4 times, it means I don't really have the aptitude for this particular skill set. That's what I actually thought about my auditions. I said, hey, I auditioned 4 times, I failed 4 times, got rejected 4 times, so that's enough. And then I just quit, which I learned was a completely wrong mindset later, because as I said, sometimes people audition like 30, 40, 50 times before they actually get a role. And had I really thought about it and done more research, I would have learned that if I looked at the circumstances behind my auditions, I could easily turn those rejections into a positive, because, you know, I had 4 auditions, 3 were for major Hollywood productions, all were speaking roles, 1 was a major speaking role. And I realized this was not normal for, you know, your first 4 auditions, in a new country, and that was exceptional luck. So I should have actually viewed that, even though I was 0 for 4, as exceptional luck and kept going. And if I had viewed my rejections that way, I would have reviewed that as tremendous opportunity that was being given to me that others did not have. And perhaps I could have parlayed that into a career in acting. Although, like I said, I was perhaps one of the reasons I didn't get any of those 4 roles is I really, you know, wasn't 100% wholehearted committed to it. So wasn't as prepared for any of those auditions as I should have been, especially given the enormous opportunity that had been granted to me. And had I used the first rule of this podcast, the power of consistency, and merely kept showing up for all the auditions my agent kept finding for me, I may have been able to become a full-time actor, like I said, had I wanted to. So don't forget, just by showing up every day, you will win a lot of these battles in life. And number two, rejection is always in the eye of the beholder. Find a way to transform rejection into something positive, and that's the power of transformation. And you can still use rejection to propel you forward to achieve your goals. So comment below, let me know of an instance in which you were rejected for something you really wanted and it turned out to be a blessing in hindsight. And also, if you have an experience to tell me about how the rule of consistency that you've applied in your life has helped you achieve a goal, please do share that below in the comments. And as always, remain intensely curious. Until next time, be mindful, be grateful, and keep grinding. Take care.